there. Welcome to another episode of Broke Horse Moms. I am your host, Angie Trueblood, the OG Broke Horse Mom. And I am very excited to have my friend Jen Nelson on the show today. She is, of course, a fellow Broke Horse Mom, as we all are. And she's mom to an incredible teen rider who happens to be really good friends with my daughter. Jen is also a rider herself and mom to the cutest little Appaloosa that you can imagine, Roh-Bear, and is the co-founder of Armor Equestrian, who is a proud sponsor of Broke Horse Moms, a company that offers the best range of products that really help make riding fun. I think a lot of times we can get into the weeds of the seriousness and the tradition of it all. And between the gallop glitter and the belts and the sparkles, you just really bring a lot of joy to shows, which I think is good for kids because they're always so nervous, like when they get there. So I'm really excited to have you on the podcast today, Jen.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I think this is going to be a really interesting conversation for listeners because so often as moms, whether we are horse moms or just moms, we focus on our children a lot and what their journey is going to look like. I know ever since Chloe started riding, I'm always thinking like, where is this going? What's this going to look like for her? And I never really stopped to consider, well, what if I really like this? Like, what if I want a space in the horse world? And I feel like you've done such a good job carving that out.
No, you're right. We definitely focus so much on our kids that we forget that we're allowed to have fun too, and we're allowed to love things. And if it just so happens to be the thing they love too, all the better, you know?
Yeah. So you didn't grow up riding, right? So this is still kind of like me. Like you're further along than I am, but new to it.
Not for long. No, I didn't. I mean, I sat on ponies, at the fair, and I think my great aunt had a horse we sat on maybe like once every other year. But no, I had no experience with horses, so this whole world was a new thing for me too. Yeah.
So Taylor started riding when she was how old? 8, 9?
Yeah, she was 8. And she had always wanted to try riding. She even wrote in her little kindergarten "What I Want to Be When I Grow Up" book that she wanted to be a horseback rider.
What?
Yeah, but at the time, the nearest barn was 30 minutes away, and I'm like, heck no, I'm not driving that far.
No.
Which now we drive, hour and a half for our kids to go get a good lesson. But
yeah,
at the time, it was just not feasible. So when I found out we were moving to Virginia, I was like, oh my God, horse country. So of course, that was a way to ease the pain of moving, was to say, as soon as we get there, we're going to sign you up for a riding lesson. And she was like, oh, okay, well, we can go to Virginia. And we did. I think it was the same exact week that we moved there. We signed her up for a lesson.
So that's really interesting because I hear a lot of moms who struggle finding lesson barns. Do you even remember how you found it?
Honestly, I think I lucked out because you're right. It's really hard to find, and especially finding a good fit. But at the time, I just was like, well, let's find the closest barn to our house. And it happened to be the one where we went to, the one where, we originally, our kids rode together originally. But it had really good reviews. And I think it was a great start for her. It was a great beginner barn. And she took one lesson. And then I remember after the lesson, we went into the office and I'm ready to pay. And she's like, well, you can buy the package of 10 and it will save you money if you plan on doing this. And I looked at Taylor and I was like, are we doing this? And she's like, yeah. So there it was. I was like, $500 later. Like, okay, well, you're committed now, kid.
And so it was weekly lessons to start, right?
Yeah, it started once a week. Mm-hmm.
And that very quickly morphed into you also taking lessons. Tell me how you got into it.
Well, okay, so you break it down and you're looking at the time, and they're even more expensive now, but at the time, $50 a lesson. And she had several lessons. And she's a little peanut, so she can't always lift the saddle onto a tall horse. And I'm like, well, I want to get every dollar I can out of these 60 minutes. How do I do that? Because at that point, they're still spending half their lesson grooming. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to learn how to tack up so I can help her and I can teach her to tack up. So every dollar I spend can be spent on her learning how to ride. So I'm going to sign up for a couple of lessons. And I knew it would take a couple to get really comfortable grooming. So I did that in the very first lesson. I sat on Bentley and I was like, this is who I am now. This is who I am. This is the rest of my life. I mean, I was hooked. And I had followed, because Taylor had ridden him several times. And so I had fallen in love with him through that. I just loved his personality. And then when I sat on him, I'm like, yeah, we're done here.
Oh my God. I think I rode him. Henry rode him because my son took a couple of lessons with Chloe,
Yeah.
and he did not like having to be forceful to move a horse where he wanted the
Oh,
horse to
and
go.
Bentley, you got to be forward with Bentley.
Bentley was like drinking water and
Yep.
like eating grain during his
As Bentley
lesson.
does.
That's amazing. But you own a horse now. How did
Yeah.
that come to be? Tell me about that piece of it.
So we started leasing during COVID because at that time, nobody could give lessons. Lessons were shut down.
Mhm.
But if you leased or owned a horse, you had to be able to go out and care for that horse and exercise that horse. So our trainer and barn owner at the time decided to do very inexpensive leases because then she would have help caring for her horses and people who couldn't
Yeah,
take lessons could ride. So we half leased a horse for Taylor and we half leased a horse for me.
of course you did.
Of course, because we both had to have a horse
Duh.
because I was in love at that point.
So
Yeah.
I remember when I first heard about leasing
Yeah.
and getting into the sport, you don't even think, I mean, it's like renting a horse. What was your initial reaction to that?
We kind of knew what it was about, but when you lease a lesson horse from
Yeah.
a barn, it's a little different. So it was very inexpensive. It was a good option for us because we could go out and ride the horse 3 days a week. And then whoever was doing the other half lease could ride the other 3 days. So it was a nice intro. I do think if barns offer that option and you're
Yeah.
just getting into it, that's the way to go.
Oh,
Because you
yeah.
think you're going to ride all the time, but then life gets in the way and you realize, oh, I don't actually have that time. I think it's a good intro.
Or you have a kid like mine who, when we went
Yeah,
to start
yours.
school again this year, I was like,
Yours
so
just
how
wants
many?
a cot in the barn. She's going to live there.
I was like, how many days do you want to go to the barn this year? She's like,
All of
6.
them.
Definitely 6. Like, oh my God.
All of the days.
Okay, so you leased a horse, and Taylor wasn't doing shows at that point, was she? How did that start progressing and seeing her move along?
No, she wasn't. We hadn't even really considered shows. So Taylor at that point didn't love competition. She's actually extremely competitive, but if she thinks there's a chance she's not going to win, she's like, maybe I'll wait. So we wanted to encourage her. We told her when her trainer said it was time, she had to do at least one show a season. It happened pretty quickly that her trainer said, I think Taylor should try showing. So it was the horse that we were COVID leasing at the time when shows got up and running. She showed him and it went really well, but she didn't love it. She didn't love it. We had to force her to do it.
Was it hunters or jumpers?
It was hunters.
Even worse. Just kidding to all of our hunter listeners.
Hunters is great. I mean, it's so good at teaching all of the basics and getting into showing and the looks
Yeah.
of it all and being so precise and exact, which is so important. But then you find jumpers and you're like, this is really fun.
Well, in the UK, they don't do hunters. The US is really the main place that hunters is a thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I wrestle a little bit having girls or a girl that
Yeah.
rides.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love that it's really based on appearance and then it can be so subjective.
Oh, it's
Chloe
so
loves jumpers
subjective.
because she's like, it's a time and like, did I
Yep.
drop any rails? And granted, there's a lot that
Yeah.
comes to executing, right? But what you're
Yes.
actually judged on feels fair, I guess.
I completely agree. And especially like having my little spotted horse. He doesn't
Thank you.
always fare so well in the huntering too. It's very subjective. And I think it's hard on kids when I'm not in the bracket where we can afford, $100,000 horse or even a $50,000 horse. And you show up on this horse that is just this made, beautiful, wonderful creature. And it's going to be a little more appealing in the judge's eyes. So jumpers
Yeah.
is great because it's like you got a clock you're going against and you have to
Mhm.
be precise. You can't knock rails.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
You can show up on your off the track that you got for $1,000, or you can show up on your really nice made horse and do well either way. And I think that's what we all love
Yeah.
about jumpers.
Okay, so you're both leasing.
Yeah.
Now, let's be honest. Did you buy Roe for you or Taylor?
Oh gosh. I actually bought Roe for the both of us. I mean, he was supposed
Okay.
to be Our horse. So after the COVID leases kind of ended, the horse that I was leasing went lame, and we didn't know if he was going to have to be retired. So our trainer at the time, she said, "Hey, I have this amazing horse. He is a fox hunter, and his owner just wants him to have a job when he's, not being hunted." And I was like, "Okay, sounds great." And I show up, and it's like this, almost 18-hand horse. I'm like, "Oh my God." But he was amazing. Loved him to pieces. But he had a tragic accident and he passed away. So when that happened, I knew that I wanted to get back in the game. I knew that I needed to have a horse of my own, and I wanted one for Taylor. And rather than paying for 2 leases, I'm like, all right, let's find a horse that we can both ride. And obviously, I started a few months after her. So we were kind of on the same level. So I'm like, okay, we can find a horse
Yeah.
that will be able to suit both of us. And so this horse looked amazing on video. He was just perfect. And our trainer, I showed her the video, and she was like, "Oh my God, he's absolutely perfect." And went to see him. He was amazing. So we bought him for Taylor and I to
Row,
ride,
right?
both of us. Got
Yeah.
him home. He bucked her off every time she sat on him. Every time.
What?
Yes. He
Row?
would buck her off, and then he would go running around the ring and start jumping jumps on his own. And just, I was like, oh my gosh. And I
Yeah.
mean, he's a complete angel now, and she's grown up, but he was almost like, this tiny child has no business being on me. He's like, get her something different. And so he just like would knock her off every single time. And so obviously she was like,
Oh
well,
my.
I'm not riding him anymore. So then we just kept doing lesson horses at that point. And then luckily
Yeah.
there was this tiny pony, Polly, at the barn that we were at. And she just needed, nobody could ride her because she was tiny. So it had to be a really tiny person. And Taylor at that point had gotten pretty good. So our trainer said, anytime Taylor wants to come out and just exercise Polly, let's put her on her. And so we did. So we just started
Nice.
letting her ride her all the time. And it was, I mean, she didn't charge us anything. And then she was like, well, let's do a lesson on her. And she said, oh my gosh, these two would be amazing in the show ring. So then we just got to use Polly all the time, and she was great. So she rode
That's
Polly, I
amazing.
rode Roe, and then Roe became all mine.
The other day, one of the girls at our barn was on her horse, like kind of sitting behind the saddle, like just stretching at the end of the
Uh-huh.
lesson or
Yeah,
whatever.
sure, of
And
course.
she was like, "Come on, Chloe, come on over, hop in the saddle. We'll both be on him." And Chloe was like,
Oh,
"No, the only horse that I've double rode was Roe with me and Taylor."
uh-huh. Yeah, he's been
Yeah,
triple
that's
rode
so
now
crazy.
too by the girls.
Oh
Yeah.
my,
No, he is that horse now.
he's
He's
such a good
turned
boy.
into that horse, and it just goes to show what putting all your love and energy and attention and building this relationship, and it's taken years. But now, like, we
Yeah,
can put 3 very tiny girls on him, and
yeah,
he's gonna be safe. He's the horse that
yeah.
anybody knows they can take to any event, and he's gonna be an angel. Yeah, but he didn't start that way.
So where do you see like your riding going? Because you have shown, and I heard you say he wasn't great in the hunter ring, but didn't you show him in the hunter ring and win first place?
We swept
You
the entire
did.
division, yeah. Which
Right.
is
So
shocking,
stop
but
it.
to be fair, it was the pleasure division, so it had nothing to do with me. It was all Row. Well, it goes back to what you were saying at the beginning, right? Like, we deserve to have something we love and to have fun. For me, showing is pressure, and I have enough pressure in the rest of my life that this is my safe space, my place to have fun and to
Yeah.
enjoy. So showing is not my future. The only reason I have showed in the past is because Taylor begged me to. Like, she does it. She wanted to
Yeah.
see me do it. And so I'm happy to do it on very rare occasions. But no, for me, this is my sanctuary, and that's all it is.
Well, I think with age comes our ability to say, I love this and I will
Yep.
do it, and I do not enjoy this and I will not do it. I feel
Yeah.
like you got that way because you had been doing some jumping at home
Yes.
at the barn where we both were. And you
Yeah.
finally were like, I don't really want to do that anymore. Right?
Yeah, it's like I was never in love with jumping. It was fun. I had a good time,
Yeah.
but I had a fall off of Row over a jump, and it wasn't even a terrible fall. I didn't get terribly hurt. But I remember being on the ground, and as I'm rolling, I'm watching his legs go over top of me, and his back legs caught caught me right in the middle of my butt. And it's fine. I was fine. but that image just never left my head. And I tried drinking a glass of wine before I would do jumping. I've tried beta blocker. But for me, it
You and
seemed
your
like,
beta blockers.
I know, it like just calms the anxiety. I did not have one today, by the way.
Oh,
Taylor was always really excited when I would jump, so I was just trying so hard to do it for her because I know she loved it when I jumped, and all my friends who were barn moms, "Oh, are you gonna jump today?" And it just felt like a lot of pressure, and it felt like it was way more important to everybody but me. And I said,
mhm.
if it's not important to me, if this is the one thing about riding that I don't enjoy, the pressure of having to jump, I'm not gonna do it. And I think that's
No,
okay. I think that's fine. If this is my fun
perfectly
thing,
okay.
yeah, I'm not if I don't feel like I wanna do it, I'm not gonna do it. It doesn't say I'm not gonna do it
Yeah.
in the future, but
Well, and I think that's like, as moms who have kids who are in competitive riding of any discipline, we're programmed to think like, oh, it has to be competitive. But
right.
that's not at all what the vast majority of people who love and ride horses do it for. It is
Mhm.
for the therapy. I was going to say free therapy. Like, no, it's definitely not free.
Oh, it's so far
Um,
from free.
but, like connection to nature, to another living thing. And That's it's fine. That's
Um,
where we need to pull ourselves out of the rat race that they might be in right now and
yeah,
say, "Well, what does this mean to me?" I like just grabbing a pony and grazing them,
just loving on.
just to be
Mhm.
there with them. Yeah.
And I think we
Yeah.
all tend to get wrapped up in, what Susie Q over here is doing and, what Johnny over here is doing, and we think, "Oh gosh, should we be doing that? Are we letting our kids down if we're not doing this?" But for me, as a mom, doing this with my kid and the bond that it has given us and just the peace that it gives me when I go in there and just sit in the stall with my horse is that means so much more to me than
Mhm.
some 40-cent ribbon. And I hope it means more to our kids. Loving on our horses, treating them right,
Yeah.
doing what's right for them is far and
Yeah.
beyond more important than keeping up with the points, you know?
Well, and both of us are coming off fairly big away shows that we took our
Yeah.
kids to. And one of the biggest takeaways for me, there was a woman riding in the very large jumper ring who was 71 years old,
Yeah.
like jumping over meter plus. It might have been like
Yeah.
1.2-meter courses.
Yeah.
And I thought,
So cool.
there's no rush here.
There's no
Yeah.
rush. And I
Yeah.
do feel like that actually brings up another good point that I'm looking forward to. There's this 90-something-year-old cowgirl. It's like, I just feel like it helps keep our bodies in motion, and the more we do, the
Yeah.
longer our bodies, like, can sustain us. I think
Yeah.
it's so cool when I see, and they're doing it because they love
Oh.
it at that point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at that point, she's not trying to earn anything. I love
That's so
that.
cool.
Okay, so speaking of fun,
Mhm.
tell me about Armor Equestrian and how that came to be.
Anybody who's been in this sport for any period of time knows that, yes, it's fun. It's a great time. You get to love on horses, you get to jump sticks, but there are some really terrible, tragic moments in it. When you
Yeah.
put your heart and soul into anything, you're going to have some disappointments. And my business partner and one of my closest friends, we had a lot of trauma in the sport in a very small amount of time. So I had lost my horse. Then their horse suddenly died. Then we got swept up into this scam that happened all over the nation in Texas and in Kentucky, I think Florida. It was horrific. So
I
we
know.
had this tragedy that
Yeah.
affected not just us, but I mean, our kids. We had to be shuttled from barn to barn because
Mhm.
we fell for this scam. And our kids just kind of lost the joy when we were at this barn that wasn't actually a barn at all. So they had no trainer. We were actually self-caring for our horses and had to hand walk them down to a neighbor's house to stay for a few nights because this was not an actual barn, and it was a mess. But anyway, my point is there was so much tragedy that we started to remember our kids being at the first barn we were at and how laughing and dressing up their ponies and flowers on their hair and coloring on them with, chalk, whatever. And we're like, we gotta get back to that. Let's get back to that. And so we created Armor Equestrian as a way to bring the fun back into something that can be so hard and so traumatic. And we just wanted to remember the good times again. And I think it worked. It put a smile on their faces, and they have so much fun doing it, and
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
it's a good time. And then the tax write-off is really nice too.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you've really leaned into that too
I
because
lean
you've
into
gone to
everything.
shows. I know, right?
It's
That's
a
why we're
trend.
friends. Yeah. Because you've gone to local shows. That's kind of where you started getting the word out about Armor Equestrian. And,
Mhm.
but then you guys have evolved. Like you went to some really big away shows, just you and Jen last year, right?
So we did Equine Affair, which is the huge horse show. It's a big trade show. They have clinics and shows and vendors and yeah, so we did that last year and it was a lot of fun.
And you always have business meetings, which I really enjoy for you and Jen.
We enjoy it for
Didn't
us
you
too.
have one in Nashville this year?
We did, yes. We went to Nashville. One of our ambassadors was doing a rated show there, so we went and watched her and supported her and then
So
hit
cool.
Broadway a couple times,
I mean, all for work.
as you do.
So tell us a little bit about the products. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, is the Gallop glitter the most popular product?
The stencils are part of the Gallop glitter. So we have in
Okay.
Gallop glitter, we have the stencils for the horses, which make like a little cutie mark on the booties, and then we have
So
hoof
cute.
polish, mane and tail gel, a shimmer spray, which is probably our best seller is our shimmer spray because you just spray it on and it's just like a sea of sparkles. And then we also came out
Mhm.
with a new one for the hunters, which is a sheen spray. So it just makes them like really,
Okay.
shine without like the greasiness
Is
and
there a
the
color
oil.
associated with the shine?
Yeah, so it's in the colors of the horses. So we have gray, light
Oh,
bay, dark bay black,
okay.
buckskin palomino, and chestnut.
Okay, so cute. And how are those going over in the hunter world? Because I feel like the hunters, it's just a very traditional setup. I mean, local hunter shows, there's one that we've gone to, and they seem pretty cool about they'll be like, decorate your horses for whatever the theme is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
right. Yeah, they do
are,
the theme
like,
one.
higher level hunters cool with it?
Yeah, so the nice thing about the Luxe spray is that it's not in your face glitter. It's just like this soft shimmer. So it's like, oh dang, how'd they get their horses so shiny? And then you have show
Nice.
sheen and all those things, and they're great, they're wonderful. But then you have to make sure you don't spray it on the neck because then the reins are gonna get slippery and so you have to be careful with it because
Oh,
it's a lot of oils. And this is oil
okay.
free. And so it just adds a shimmer without so yeah, it's actually been pretty popular because it's not so much, "Oh my gosh, that horse has glitter." It's, "Oh my gosh, that horse is so shiny." So that one yeah, for hunters, that one's been really good.
Now, have y'all gone to any hunter shows, or are you typically staying in the jumper world?
So far, we've just been in the jumper world, because, that's our jam. Those are the people who can dress up their ponies and do the matching
Yeah,
saddle pads and the shirts and the fly bonnets and then, a stencil to match, and so that's kind of been our big one are the jumper shows. They like to be
I
a little
love
out
that.
there.
My cousin's daughter is doing her first jumper show actually this weekend with all of us. And she texted and she's like, "What kind of saddle pad?" I'm like, "Whatever your horse likes." Like,
Uh-huh.
it's
Yeah.
fine. And then she's like, "What does she wear?" I'm like, "Whatever she likes to ride
Whatever she
in." Like,
wants. Just have a collar and you're good.
yeah, it's amazing. So,
We
yeah,
love jumper.
we're definitely I know, I'm so partial to it.
And
Um,
eventers too. Eventers is a good time too.
I always wonder if the kids will ever try that. Like, is Taylor ever interested in eventing or
Yeah, so when we were at the barn that we were at together and on for, a good few years, she actually took one lesson a week at an eventer barn too. And she did vaulting too. So she did vaulting, she did
what is
eventing.
that?
Yeah. Oh, vaulting. Vaulting is like it's trick riding, but when it's English, they call it vaulting. So you stand on the horse, you do tricks on the horse. And yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it was
Chloe
a
did
lot of fun.
yeah, she's done a couple of, like, cross country jumps, like, out on the Hunter Pace or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
but she does say, she's like, "I wanna go." I think it's Oakdale that's local to us. Is
Yes.
that
Uh-huh.
where the
Yeah,
okay.
Oakdale.
She's like,
Mhm.
"I really wanna go there." So, I love that they're open to trying other disciplines because I think
Yes.
it brings it back to the fun. Let
Uh,
the horse be a horse too. Put him on a trail or do these other things
Yeah,
with
get them
them just to
out.
deepen
I
that
mean, you
bond. I
can
think
see
it's
the
important.
horses, the lesson horses that stay in an arena all the time, they just become kind of dead in the eyes and they want to get out and they want to go have fun. I mean, it's like us, if we're stuck in our
Yeah.
houses, COVID, when none of us could leave, we all got a little stir crazy. So, yeah, I get the horses,
Yeah.
even if that's not what they're great at, if that's not their thing, you don't even have to jump. I mean, just go out on a trail, go out, on
Yeah.
bridle pass and just get them out doing something different.
No matter what barn you're at, even if they don't have proper trails, like we've always had places that you could walk them on a path just outside of that normal stall to ring to stall to field.
Yeah, just something
Yeah.
different. Yeah, even the barn that we're at now doesn't
Yeah.
have traditional trails, but there's a field down a gravel drive that we can walk down and canter
Yeah.
down the field. And it's just, you
Yeah.
just see the horses come alive. Like
Yeah.
Roh-Bear, my heart and soul, he's great in a ring, but he's a little slower. You kind of have to encourage him, but you get him out in a field and that boy is going to run and he's going to
Oh,
do these happy little crow hops. So you just see
so
like a
cute.
different horse and it's fun to see them come alive.
Oh my God, I love it. So let's talk briefly as we start to wrap up about the money part of raising a kid and horses and also loving horses yourself.
Yeah.
So the business helps for sure. Like that is one avenue that there's
Yeah.
no surprise that there are a lot of family owned businesses in the horse world.
Yeah.
Um, but tell me, like, how have you guys navigated it as Taylor's gotten older and that the shows that she's more interested in are further away and more expensive? Like anything
Yeah.
you can tell our moms that are listening as tips that
So,
doesn't include running away, because I know that is what you told me.
I still support
Not an
running
option.
away. Um, no, yeah, it gets really pricey and it comes down to priorities. I think there's a lot that we, as Taylor has gotten more involved in the sport and myself, that we have to give up, and we see our friends going on these nice a couple vacations every year and nice clothes and going out to eat. I mean, we never go out to eat. We go on the one
Mhm.
vacation a year where we stay at a house that a family owns. It's a
Yeah.
trade-off. You just have to decide, what's important to you. And for Taylor, I mean, this is her passion. We want to support that. Um, but so this year, because it has started to get kind of out of control. So this year we sat down with her and we said, listen, you have to make decisions. We can't do all of these shows. And especially now that she's like, this is, the first year where she's really following points. And so she wants to
Yeah.
be at as many shows as possible. And so we had to sit down with her and say, what's your focus? Pick which one you want. We can't do all of these show
Mhm.
circuits. Which one do you want to focus on this year? And I think that's what you have to do is just say, and even if you can't do the whole show season, you just say, this is how many shows we're
Yeah.
doing. Which ones do you want to do? And you have to stick with it. But it's hard. It's hard because,
That's a whole other episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The points, I'm like, this is such a racket.
It is such a racket. It's insane. I know your newsletter recently said, I think it was like $1,400, not including trainer fees, and it's
No.
insane. And it's
Yeah.
like we don't have
And I mean,
tons of
that was
money.
no. I mean, I thought we did. Like I thought
You
before
think you have money
horses.
till you get horses. Ugh.
Yeah. Chloe's 2 years older than Taylor,
Mhm.
but she's 15. So I
Yeah.
had been prepping her for a bit of, she loves barn chores. You know this
Yeah.
about her, but
Yes, she
she,
does.
girl, will work at a barn
Yes,
for
she will.
free. Just, she loves it.
Well, I
And
told you she's
so
a
as it was
lifer.
time, I know, I know. I've totally like absorbed that and I'm comfortable and excited about it. It's great.
Yeah.
Um, but I told her, like, you're 15, it's time for you. You're able to contribute, you're able to get a job. And we had this long discussion because she's like, Mom, I don't want to work at Chick-fil-A. Like, I want to work at the barn. And so
Yeah.
we were able to work something out with her trainer to where she could do the work that she loves and
Yes.
actually get compensated in a roundabout way for it.
Yeah.
But now we're trying to figure out, like, okay, well, how much? Like, how do you break up what they pay for? Like, they can't
Right.
really pay for a rated show.
Right.
but she paid for the
That's
stalls.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, I think that's a great point. And you bring it because there are most barns do have options for kids
mhm.
to help work off where they can, work some chores and then maybe get extra ride time. And I have not
Yeah.
been to one barn yet that doesn't offer that. Yeah, yeah. Or if they go to a show to maybe cut back on trainer fees, if the trainer's showing, let them tack up the trainer's horse, let them take care of the owner's horse, let them muck their stall. And I have never met a trainer that is not willing to do something for a kid who wants it that bad. They see the
Yeah, for
passion and I
sure.
think they see themselves in that kid. So I think there's always
Yeah.
opportunities for kids to work it off a little
Yeah.
bit. And my
Yeah.
kid,
I love that.
hates working around the barn, but she does photography now, so that's her way of getting into it.
Anyone who's local to Richmond, definitely reach out because Taylor, she did a photo shoot at Chloe's barn and it
Right.
went phenomenally. So it was really sweet. And I still have video of them like still being horse girls, like in between when
Yeah.
Taylor was videoing others where they were in the wheelbarrow, like
Yeah.
rolling each other around. I'm
Don't
like,
you
you
love
can't
like,
take this
where
out of
else
them.
can you see a 15-year-old being a
No.
kid? These kids, like these
Yeah.
kids, you see a 15-year-old setting up jumps in the ring and they're jumping them on foot themselves, one
Yeah.
after the
They
other.
did
It's like,
that.
yes, exactly. They still get to be that's what I love about this life. I love that they get to
Yeah.
still be kids. They're not focused on makeup and boys and like they find this
No.
love and they're like, this is it. Like this is all I need.
Yeah. I'm like, have we brushed our hair like in a week?
No, no,
Fine.
definitely not.
Just ponytail. So, a couple of things as we wrap up.
Yeah.
Do you have any words of wisdom for moms who are listening who might be earlier along in their horse mom journey than you and I
Yes.
are?
Questions are your friend. Google is your friend. Every lesson I got off of when I first started writing, I Googled for at least an hour the words that she said because I think people who grew up in this world don't understand that we don't know what these things mean. Things that are common sense to them are they're jibber jabber to us. So Google,
Mm-hmm.
ask questions. There are no stupid questions. And I know it
Yeah.
can be daunting. So if you don't feel comfortable asking the questions, number one, check out Broke Horse Moms because this is what you're all about.
Yeah.
And then Google the crap out of everything. I threw myself into it because I'm a researcher. It's what I love to do. So I would say ask
Mm-hmm.
questions and Google.
Okay, listener, we have a special surprise for you today. Our very first trainer truth bombs. So, I have been reaching out to trainers that I know, asking them to share what they would love for us to know, but that they may not have told us directly. So, it's really the behind the scenes of what trainers are thinking and wanting us as moms to be aware of. And we'll get Jen's reaction to this one.
Uh-oh.
This one is it's it's nice. So I'm
Okay.
sure they will get more aggressive as time
I
goes
hope so.
on.
I love aggressive.
Yeah. So this one says horses aren't majestic, intuitive healers. They are 1,000-pound hamsters with a death wish. Take some time to understand the neurology of a prey animal before you get in too deep. What do you think about that?
I love that so much because you expect you think they're just like these little tanks, but they are every second of every day. They think everything is going to kill them, maybe even
Yes.
you. So
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree. So if you come at it with that mentality, like instead of being like ticked off at them that they're afraid of something that they've never seen before, or that, if the wind is wrestling really big that day, they think there's some giant, dragon that's going to come out of the
Monster.
woods to eat them. And I think if you think of that, if you put yourselves in their bodies and say, oh my gosh, everything wants to eat me, then I think maybe you'll give them a little more grace. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Well, I think the flip of that too is Christine said this one time when we were watching Chloe and Phoebe ride, and I was just being like very romantic about their partnership. And she's like, I mean, I don't necessarily think that there are horses and riders that are like not meant for each other, but her thing was we romanticize this relationship sometimes between like rider and horse. And she's like, at the end of the day, they're animals that want to get well taken care of. They want to get fed. So I think sometimes, especially if there's ponies involved, we forget that it's an animal and like it
Mhm.
is majestic and also it has basic needs, and I don't know that its emotions are sometimes, like, as deep as we try to make them, maybe. Jen's like, "I feel very attacked here because
No, I
Roh-Bear
think yeah,
and
no.
I are meant to be together."
No, I think you're on the money, but I think the balance to that is once they realize that you are there to support them
Yeah.
and meet their basic needs, they are going to look to you. Like, it goes back to Roe bucking Taylor off and he I thought he cried every day after I rode him because I thought he hated me, but I just hadn't taken the time to develop, that when you're with
Yeah.
me, you are safe. And that's when our
Yeah.
relationship changed, is when he knew that I had his back and that I would walk through fire and I would stand in front of the dragon and let the dragon eat me before I'd let it get him. And then he was like, "Okay, when I'm with
Oh,
her, I am safe." And so I do think as far as that goes, if you're meeting their basic needs, you're gonna get the relationship, but you have to be willing
yeah.
to see them as the animal and meet those needs first. So I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you and I have texted before about the horses that our kiddos ride and how
Mhm.
they've literally saved our kids' asses so
Oh my
many
gosh.
times
Every
and
freaking
continue
show.
to.
I swear. I look at our trainer and I'm like, "Thank you, Agape. He just saved her butt again." And she's like, "Yes, he did." And
There was
but
one
he
ride at the show we just came from. Christine was like, "That could have ended very differently."
sometimes they're just saints. Just saints. And I think once they know this person has my best interest, like Agape, who my daughter rides, he knows that she's going to give him red light, several times a week. She's going to give him treats and hand graze him. So he's like, I want to keep this kid safe because she takes care of me. It's more of a selfish
Right.
need. We like to think of it as, oh, it's because they love us. But no, they're selfish animals. We're selfish animals. Like
Yeah.
we're taking care of each other. So,
It's a good partnership.
and it's slightly romantic.
Well, I believe that you have an offering for Armor Equestrian for our listeners.
Oh, yeah, come check us out. Just for Broke Horse Mom listeners, we do have a code. It's BHM, and it gives you
Mhm.
15% off anything in our store. So come check it out. We have belts, we have all the glitter you could possibly want. We have really cute, fun stickers. So yeah, we
Stencils.
would love to offer that for your listeners.
Well, Jen, thank you for being here. This has been perfect. I appreciate you so much.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Friend, if you liked this episode of Broke Horse Moms, go ahead and hit follow or subscribe in whichever podcast player you're listening in. And if you want to help grow this community of Broke Horse Moms, would you send this podcast to one member of your in real life barn family? It would really help us out a lot. Thanks, and see you on the next episode.